let's get into what I read in July. I read 4 library books, whether I got these physically or from my Libby app. I read 3 of my owned books, and I read 1 ARC. Now, let's start with the very first book that I finished in July, A Curse of Beast and Magic by Jeaniene Frost. This is about Rain and Remy. Rain is an ER nurse who has this beast that is inside her. She tragically got this beast on a horrific camping excursion with her mother and her grandmother. Now, she has learned to feed this beast by working in the ER. And one night, she accidentally plays a vigilante and saves an elderly gentleman from what seems to be a mugging. And she also inadvertently heals him in some way. This elderly gentleman is Remy's grandfather, and nobody has been able to heal him in many years. His grandfather put the spell on himself to protect a secret. Now, Remy offers to help Rain remove her beast from herself. While doing this, they have to pretend to be engaged, do all this other stuff, because Remy is the warden of the northeast section of the United States. This is an alternate US. In this version of the United States, Remy is the warden, and he protects these magical creatures from being discovered by normal people, and he also helps them by governing them while also protecting them. Somebody is trying to take over Remy's ward, I should say. This was very well done. I did read a good portion of this, while also I did listen to a good portion of this. This was a 3-star. I really don't know what to say about it. It is a very typical Beauty and the Beast retelling. I have an alternate version of the Beast, where Beauty is the Beast. You have a very interesting character in Remy, who is the warden. I thought his character was very interesting. The thing I took issue with was their relationship and how it went very, very quickly. Remy proposes that to take care of her and to give her more strength and more control over the beast, he has to make her his wife. There's a lot more to go into it, but I'm breaking it down to a very simple explanation. And once he does this, she basically has total control over the beast. And I thought that was very, unrealistic. She didn't even have any issues with controlling the beast. It was like, bam, she could do it. And that's where I took issue with it. Also, lots of things were left out while reading it. And maybe this was because I was listening to it and not physically reading it with my eyeballs. But I felt like we were jumping from thing to thing to thing, and we didn't have a linear line. This was very much a character driven plot instead of plot driven, which sometimes works for me, sometimes doesn't work for me. In this one, it did not work for me. I'm not sure if this is going to be more than 2 books, but I know there's another book coming out, and I will not be continuing on in this series. Well written, there's nothing egregiously wrong with this book, but I just do not feel the need to continue on and find out what happens with these 2 characters. I did not connect with them enough to continue on with these characters. Then I listened to Crown Me Dead by Zander. Now this one has been making its way across BookTube, across Book Talk, and this one is considered dark romance. I take issue with this because I don't feel like it's a true dark romance. I feel like it's gross. Well, unfortunately, Goodreads is not going to tell me what the main female character's name is, but I can tell you that she is a gravedigger's daughter. Her mother and I believe her father, but her father is extremely sick. There is this blight that is going through the entire country, and it is called the rot. What we find out is that the rot is connected to the king, and each king has to basically kill a queen to keep this rot at bay. The current king is refusing to kill a queen, to even take a queen. We meet this very mysterious man who offers our main female character a bargain. He says that if you go and court the king, this will in turn take care of the blight, will cure your father, will cure your brother, and will cure anybody else that is suffering from this rot. And like I said before, this is considered dark romance. Now, I looked up what dark romance is considered, and according to Google, dark romance is like morally gray, power imbalance, and so on and so forth. I don't believe that this should be considered dark. Yes, we have a morally gray character in Vale. He has his own secrets. He is keeping things to himself. He's not telling our main female character everything that she needs to know, which happens in a lot of fantasy romantasy books. The other thing is I feel like this is considered dark because we have a lot of gross, disgusting things. Now, if you've watched my mid-year freakout tag, you'll know that I said that you need to get through the first 20 to 30% of this book to get past that disgusting portion. And I've heard other creators say that once we get past that portion, you don't really see that anymore. You don't see the blight, you don't see the rot anymore. And I feel like that was done, you know, deliberately, and I can understand why. You still get little glimpses of it, but I feel like there's a reason, and you could read lots into this, why the author chose not to continue on with this narrative of continuously telling you that the king is gross and disgusting. He looks gross. He has maggots coming out of him. He has like pustule boils all over his body, and you're supposed to be attracted to this man. Our female main character is supposed to be attracted to this man, and she's trying to save her family, which is again a fantasy romantasy trope. This is why we read these books. I loved this book. Like I said, if you can get past the 20 to 30% of this book, you will fly through it. It is very, very short. It's only about 300 pages long if you physically read it, but I listened to it, and I cannot wait to listen to the second half of this duology, and I will definitely be looking into other books by this author. I feel like there are certain things that I could get behind that she does. I like that she does very short, very quick romantasy romance books, and I'm definitely going to be looking into more from this author. I gave this 4 stars. I cannot stop thinking about it, so I might bump it up to 5, but we shall see what happens by the end of the year. I did source this one from my library. I listened to that one. I believe I said that. I cannot remember. This has been a complete show. Next I had a series of DNFs. So let's start with the first one. That is Smoke and Scar by Gretchen Powell Fox. This is about a female fae character who is I want to say she's a warrior. This world is separated into like fairies who have magic and humans who do not. And every 50 to 25 years, here again is a typical fantasy trope, there is a competition. And with this competition, the fairies can get more magic and the humans can get magic that they can give to other people, they can give to their country. I cannot remember. The problem that I had with this was it was very cut and paste other fantasy, romantasy books, and I just did not care. I didn't care about the female character. I thought she was a you-know-what. I thought she was mean. The only reason she was going into this is because her best friend slash first love, his little sister, is going into this competition and her mom doesn't want her to go into this competition. His little sister is a brat and she's just going because she wants to avenge her brother, or she wants to prove that she can do it. And our hero or love interest is a human, and he's taking direction from like a duke or somebody who's kind of like that, and I just did not like his character. Maybe it was because I was trying to listen to it and I loathed entirely the narrator for the male character. He ruined it for me. Like, if you love the audiobook, great, grand, wonderful, but I just could not get past that. My other issue with this was the first trial was all over the place. All over the place. It did not flow very well at all. And I did not care, so I was like, thank God I got it from the library. You can have it back. And I was like 152 pages into it, 100 something, I don't know. The next book that I tried to read and then promptly DNF'd was Sound of War and Shadow by J.R. Ward. Now, this is a very famous author. I love J.R. Ward. I love the Black Dagger Brotherhood series, and I've read a couple other books by J.R. Ward. Now, this one, my thoughts might be a little controversial, but I feel like, according to the dedication, she dedicated this book to Jennifer L. Armentrout. I feel like J.R. Ward was like, you wrote, JLA wrote From Blood and Ash. I read this book. I thought it was great. I gave it 5 stars. I feel like J.R. Ward was like, here, hold my beer and I'm gonna try to do it better. Which I feel like she could have done, but I could not get into this book. And I don't know if I'm going to try to revisit this one or if I'm just gonna bless and release with this one. I have noticed that recently there are certain books that work for me and there are certain books that don't. I am currently revisiting Silver Elite, which I tried to read, I think it was earlier this year, and I just could not get into it. Now I'm having a grand old time. Absolutely love it. I'll talk about it in my August wrap up. But this one, like I said, our main female character has the pox. I have no idea what that is. I was like 100 pages into this book. I still didn't know what it was. And she meets up with a mercenary, and he propositions her the very first time they are alone, and there are demons that are flipping over the wall and wreaking havoc. Again, like I said, I feel like J.R. Ward was like, hold my beer, I'm gonna write this better. I don't know, because I couldn't get into this one. I want to retry it because I do like J.R. Ward and I do like her writing, but I don't know if I'll be able to finish this one. But I did return it to the library, and if I want to revisit it, I can. So after having a couple of failed miserably reads, I decided to revisit a book that I knew that I was gonna love, and if I didn't finish it, it was okay. And that was my reread of Hero. This is by Rowe. I have read this one. I don't remember the first time I read this one, but I do remember I sobbed, I cried. I absolutely loved this book. In this one, we follow Libby and we follow Colby. Libby is a physical therapist. In the beginning of this book, she loses her husband from sweethearts. They were high school sweethearts, and he is a first responder, he is a cop, and we see him die in the very first quarter of this book. She has 3 small children. Then we meet Colby. Colby is a firefighter, and he gets into a very tragic accident, and he has to go through physical therapy. He meets Libby. Sparks fly. I know I sound very sarcastic, but this is a love at first sight. Single mom, firefighter, you know, all those tropes that we love, we adore. There is nothing wrong with this book. I absolutely love this book. If you love a single parent romance, I highly recommend this one. If you love a firefighter romance, I highly recommend this one. If you want to bawl your eyes out, I recommend it. I reread this one because I wanted to refresh my memory before I moved on to the second one, which I have, which I probably should be reading again this next month, but it just didn't happen in the cards. I love how Rowe deals with these sensitive subjects. I love how she has these conversations with Colby and Libby, and then Libby's children and Colby, about not replacing his dad, about, you know, all those very sensitive subjects that you have to deal with when you are dating somebody who has children. Also the subject about dating a first responder. I feel like that is a very great conversation that these two have, and something that Rowe does very well in this one is that she doesn't just brush it aside. She doesn't, you know, make this conversation happen off page. She puts it right there, right in front of your face, and you bawl your eyes out. So again, I gave this one 5 stars. I did highlight a lot. I read this one through KU because at the time when I read this one the first time, I didn't have KU, but now I do. And so I will be highlighting this one and, you know, tabbing it and making it my own because I do really like this. I do really like Rowe as an author. My next read is my one and only arc, which is fine. I found this on TikTok. This is No Pants Required by Kate Pilsner. I do have a full Goodreads review for this one. I gave it 4 stars, but I believe it's more of a 3.75. Now this one we follow Tabby, and she is 30 something and she's moving home. She does not want to move home, and she has her reasons, and they are very valid. She has her fur baby, which she absolutely loves, and I love too. I loved her fur baby. This is a romance story. It's an older romance. We do have an older love interest, and that is fine. I really don't mind age gaps. I did not feel the age gap in this one. The reason this one got 3.75 stars, and I don't typically do those. I do like whole stars. I gave it a 4 stars on Goodreads. I didn't want to give it a 3 star because this one didn't do anything wrong. This book is well written, but I had issues with it. And the issues that I had with it were time did not move correctly. We jumped a lot throughout this entire book. We jumped a lot. It would be months later, but it didn't feel like anything moved except for time. We didn't get conversations about what happened. And the whole reason why Tabby moves home is because she cannot afford to live on her own. Granted, she's moving to a suburb of San Francisco, but she cannot afford to live on her own. Can you say hello? Let's say hello? No? That is the whole reason why she's moving. That was another thing that I had problems with. She has this big dream of having a, you know, a coffee truck, and she buys a truck, but she can't afford to live on her own, and she's buying a coffee truck. Make that make sense. And I just couldn't get past that, because it's like, okay, if you're moving home to live with your parents because you can't afford to live on your own, which is fine, you do you, boo, but you're gonna go and buy a coffee truck even when you can't buy an apartment? You buy a coffee truck, you spend all this money to fix it up, but you can't afford the apartment. Things do not make sense. That, and it was just too good to be true. I thought the meet cute was very, very cute and funny. Obviously, we love to have those. It was cute and it was funny. But after that, she just finds out that he is like this multi-millionaire, and he just keeps throwing money at her and keeps doing all this stuff. And she's like, oh no, I can't let you take me on this day trip to Walt Disneyland. I don't know why you couldn't just say that. And then to dinner at Club 33. Yeah. I don't know. I enjoyed it. It was great. But do I need to read more from this author? Maybe, maybe not. Would I recommend this one? Yes, I would. I would recommend this one. But I do not need to own a copy of this. It was great to read. It was fun. It was a great palate cleanser. But I did have some serious issues with it. And so we're going to close out the rest of the month with 2 more books from my own TBR, or from my own library that I've read before. This one I already have a full review on my channel, so I'm not going to talk about it in this one. This is Mirror Mirror by Jen Kalanita. I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. Although this time I did listen to it instead of reading it. I take that back. I listened to it again. I should have tandem read it and followed along with my eyeballs. Then I listened to Fairest of Them All, and I will have a review about this coming soon, because this is Serena Valentino, one of my favorite authors, and I have to review this. I have to. That's next week's problem, not this week's problem. I do have 2 other books that I'd like to talk about, but I haven't finished them, so they will be in my August wrap-up. The first one is Silver Elite. I've already mentioned this one. This is by Danny Francis. If you don't know what this is, where you been living? I don't know what to say. The second one, In the Wake of the Ruin by Callie Cassidy, which is the second one in a duology, I believe. And this one, again, is considered dark romance. I have issue with that. There's going to be a whole video. I'm basically just going to rant about it. Anywho, this one is going very well. It's book 2 in a series. I want to wrap it up. And it checks off our fantasy bingo for me. That video will be coming at the end of August. But if you've read any of these that I've talked about, please let me know in the comments. And I will see you in the next one.